Right folks, it is another week. I'm going to chat a little bit about how we're tackling this week. The video is going to be structured a little bit differently to normal. So to start with, we're making some changes to the way I'm approaching training. My tempo runs on Monday mornings are not working mentally. I'm finding it very difficult to get myself out the door and running along a flat, straight, paved path is just incredibly boring, and I hate it. So we're going to change that up in order to keep things sustainable, because obviously if I keep hating it, I'm just going to start hating running, and that's really not a position I want to get into. I'm not doing well at the minute. I'm pretty depressed. My ADHD is going through the roof at the minute. Most of the time I manage it pretty well. I'm not medicated. I basically use exercise, very strict sleep schedule, and a good diet to manage my ADHD. But because there's so much going on in life at the minute and I'm very stressed, it's just really bad. I can't concentrate. I'm really struggling to concentrate on things. My memory is getting worse, as it does when my ADHD gets bad. And I'm finding it very difficult to motivate myself to do basic tasks. So with ADHD, you often encounter this thing called executive dysfunction, which the best way to describe it, so I'll be sat at my computer sometimes, I'll be aware that the time is passing, I can see like the clock changing, and I know that I have to do a thing before I need to like leave the house to go somewhere, and it is like, it's like someone else living inside my head who has just sprinted around my body and like cut all my tendons or something, because my body won't fucking move no matter what I think or do. It's like I'm stuck there. So that's executive dysfunction. You generally feel very powerless when it hits. It's very frustrating. Yeah. So that's happening a lot at the minute. So in order to combat the tempo run problem, I'm just not going to do them. I'm going to do a trail run instead on Monday mornings, because I think I can run the distance that I want to run without bailing, basically, if I do it as just a trail run. Whereas this morning, so I went to do my tempo, I jogged down, I started the tempo, I felt like I wanted to cry for 5 kilometers, so I just cut it at 5 kilometers and I didn't continue on to do the 8 kilometers of tempo, and just ran back home after 5. And that was the only way it was gonna happen without disaster occurring this morning. I really felt just incredibly awful. So yeah, to keep it sustainable, just going to do a trail run on Monday mornings, and I think that'll work much better, because it's more important that I get the mileage in than doing these tempo runs, really. What I can do is when I feel a bit better, if I feel like I want to do one, then I'll do one, because sometimes it's nice to do a tempo run and move a bit faster. That feels good, but I think doing it every week is really not working for me at all. So we're just going to change it. And this is the thing, you shouldn't be afraid to change your training program. If you've got a goal, you should adjust your program to be more sustainable so that you can still reach the goal. And you shouldn't be afraid to change your training program. If that's going to work better for you, then you should do that. And don't be afraid to embrace the change. Okay, so that's that bit out of the way. Now we're going to talk about strength training, how I'm tackling it, and what's going to be involved. For the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be focusing on eccentric movements, and I will insert clips as I'm talking of the exercises that will be doing this week, and I'll describe them, explain why I'm doing them, what they mean, etc. I do 2 lower body sessions a week. My Monday lower body session is quad dominant, essentially, so I'll have 2 main movements that are quad dominant, and then I'll have some other movements after that that will be more hamstring focused, and I'll do some calf stuff as well. Usually how I balance out, and then on Wednesdays they're more hamstring dominant, and I do some slightly more quad focused additional movements and some calf stuff. There's always calf stuff involved. So the plan is to use squats with weight releases to achieve this this kind of eccentric focused movement. So what the weight releases allow you to do is have additional weight hooked onto the bar, as you'll see in the clips, And then when you get to the bottom of the squat, the weight release has touched the ground and unhook from the bar without you having to do anything. And then you have a lighter weight going on the way up. The reason we're doing this is because the human body is much stronger in the eccentric portion of a movement. So this enables you to load greater weight on yourself and lift heavier during that portion of the movement. And this is useful because it just means you can really like target specific strength gains by loading the eccentric portion of a movement. And I'm using this so that I can really like build strength during this phase of the training block and really get a good strength foundation for when I then move into more power focused movements in the mid and late phases of the training block. That's the plan. So squat with weight releases is the first main movement I'll be doing for the next 3 weeks on my quad dominant workout days. And then the second main movement is a reverse Nordic. Now I can't really do a full reverse Nordic, but I don't really need to be able to because I'm focusing on the eccentric portion of the movement again. So I'm lowering myself as slowly as possible and then giving myself whatever assistance I need to get back to the top. And that's the same principle. I'm strengthening myself as much as possible by putting my body in a position where it can do this eccentric portion and do it really nice and slowly, build really good strength in the legs over the next 3 weeks, and then we should be ready to take on a different training approach. And then I'll just put some clips in of the kind of movements that I'll do in addition to those 2 main movements. These movements might vary a little bit over the next 3 weeks, but they'll more than likely stay basically the same. But I'll vary them if I feel like it, like if I feel bored or whatever of doing the same ones I did last week. So these are the sorts of movements I'll be using, and these are more just, so I'll do my main 2 movements as quad dominant, and then these ones are a little bit more hamstring focused to just try and balance out a little bit so that my quads aren't just like completely toasted from the session, and then I can balance things out a little bit more over the muscle groups. In the Wednesday workout is more hamstring focused, so I'll be using deficit deadlifts as one of my main movements in my Wednesday workouts, and same principle as the squat with weight releases. We're doing conventional deadlift to pull the bar off the ground, but then when we lower the bar, we're switching to Romanian deadlift. So conventional deadlift is where your knees bend, in very simple terms, and Romanian deadlift is where your legs stay straight. Again, very simple terms here, but that's the difference. So you can pull more weight with a conventional deadlift. So I'll be able to pull the bar off the ground with a heavy weight on it, and then I'll be able to have an extra heavy weight for the Romanian deadlift on the way back down. So I'll be able to load the hamstrings really well and basically do a nice slow portion, eccentric portion of the movement with big heavy weight on it. Really focus my hamstrings and build strength really effectively there. The second movement is a Nordic curl. Again, I cannot do a full Nordic curl, so we're focusing on the eccentric portion of the movement, and I'm using whatever assistance I need to get myself back to the top. Again, really focusing on lowering myself as slowly as I possibly can. And again, this movement really targets the hamstrings. So we're just absolutely hammering the hamstrings for this Wednesday workout. And then similar to the quad dominant workout, I'll do some other movements afterwards that are a bit more, so whereas with the quad dominant workout my other exercises in that session are a bit more hamstring focused, the other exercises in the Wednesday session will be a little bit more quad focused. I say a little bit more. We will be doing things like step up type exercises and things which do still hit the hamstrings quite a bit, but hamstrings are super important for going uphill. Like, that's the muscle that is most used going uphill, and I do a lot of that, so it's important to have strong hamstrings anyway. But I'll insert clips of the kind of additional movements I'll be doing as part of my Wednesday workouts. And so the way these workouts have been structured for the 2 main exercises in each workout, we'll be doing 5 sets of 5 reps with 2 to 3 minutes rest in between each. And then for the kind of accessory exercises, it will be 2 sets of 10 reps with about 2 minutes rest in between. And the calf exercises will be usually 2 sets of 20 reps with about 2 minutes rest in between. Usually go much higher rep range on the calves. They can take quite a lot and it's a good idea to try and really like focus in on those and just do high rep ranges on the calves for like most of the year. So that's how the strength training is working basically. I will insert a little bit of footage of my Friday run, but other than that, this week just wanted to talk about the strength training, show you some clips of the strength training, why I'm doing it, what it means, and then in 3 weeks time I'll probably do another video similar to this where I'm just talking through what the strength training is and why I'm doing it. So yeah, recap, doing it like this because it helps focusing on the eccentric portion of the movement, just means I can load much heavier for that eccentric portion and really like target strength improvement for that period. And then it just means I've got a really good foundation to then move on to like more power focused movements, which will be more useful for like developing actual racing power output, basically. If you are interested in getting training plans, just shameless plug, I am a personal trainer with a running focus. So if you want strength training that's sort of running focused and you're not really sure where to start, you can hit my email in the description below and we can have a chat. The chats are free. I don't charge for the chats. All right, I'll leave you with some footage of my Friday run, and that'll be it for this week. Next week, I'm going to focus a little bit more on what I eat, which I don't really like doing, but I think it will probably be useful just to give a bit of an insight into what, why, and how much I eat when I'm doing this kind of training. So yeah, tune in next week if you're interested in what a mountain marathon training plan involves in terms of food. All right. Catch you around. Just on one of our frequent routes through Warncliffe Woods, and just came down the really steep hill, and normally I do that a lot faster. Not today. There's a little bit of ice on the ground, just a little bit. Unfortunately, a stitch along that section, so I might just try and walk it off a bit. It's not surprising because period's due, so I'm in the high hormone phase of my menstrual cycle, which means there's more progesterone kicking around, which makes like muscle breakdown and muscle fatigue a lot more lightly. Ow. Okay, I'm gonna walk this off and then get running again. I'll probably leave it there for today. There's not that much else to see necessarily on the way back. Oh yeah, plan for the weekend tomorrow is to run 10 kilometres total, easy pace. I'm going to go down to Hillsborough Park Run because the Couch to 5k group that I've been working with are doing their park run, their 5k tomorrow. So I'm going to go do it with them. And then Sunday I'm coaching the Dark Peak Juniors, so I'll be doing a little bit of running around with them. Ooh. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope the strength training information was useful, and I will see you next week. So next week's going to be covering nutrition a bit more, get an idea of what I sort of eat, which I'm still refining, so we'll revisit this as the block goes on, and I'll do another nutrition video a bit later down the line. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.